Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about the lessons I've learned on my very fledgling YouTube career / journey so far. It might seem strange to talk to you about my lessons learned, bearing in mind I am very early on and still getting to grips with YouTube, but I think you will be particularly interested if you are thinking about starting a YouTube channel. With that in mind, my name is Brendan. Please do click the like button if you like anything you hear, and also make sure that you do click subscribe. If you just touch the bell, that means that it wobbles and it means that you will get the content the moment it is released. So, have you ever thought about starting a YouTube channel? The chances are, a bit like me, is you see all these, and I'm going to say youngsters because I feel super old at the moment, youngsters starting YouTube channels and being really successful. Now, it's far too easy to think, can I become an overnight success like them? And I'm also long enough in the tooth to know that overnight success can often be weeks, months, and even years in the making, so I'm not that naive. But if you're anything like me, you might be interested in wanting to become a YouTuber. And how do you go about doing it? Well, you know, as I just turned 40 at the end of last year, I do feel particularly old and particularly late to the party when it comes to YouTube. But the question is, can it be done? Well, quite simply, it can be done because this is what I'm doing at the moment. But in terms of everything you need to learn, oh my word, there is so much to do and it's total information overload. So if you're anything like me and you have a desire to start a YouTube channel, but to be quite honest, you just don't know where to begin, this is the video for you. So when you think about YouTube, what comes to mind? It could be people like KSI and Logan Paul, who obviously boxed it out in days gone by, or Mr. Beast and absolute viral videos. Conversely, it might be people like Matt Diavella and Ali Abdul around productivity and minimalism and just improving your lifestyle. But when it comes to you and your journey, and you want to create this platform and this spokesperson for you on your channel, i.e. you, how do you go about doing it? What are the things stopping you? I'm going to tell you what mine were. Fear. The fear of failure, the fear that it would just be rubbish, the fear that I just cannot do it. Does that resonate? Uncertainty. What the dickens do you do next? How does it work? What on earth do I need to do to create content that you will stay and watch? And the third one for me was doubt. Doubt around, could I do it? Am I good enough in front of the camera? Will it be engaging? Can I get my words out without muddling them up so that you can understand the point that I'm trying to make? Those three things were the negatives that were stopping me from actually trying in the first place. It wasn't just those three things. Did I have the confidence to start a YouTube channel? When you don't know where to start, you can begin to doubt yourself, and that doubt just plays on your confidence. All of a sudden you go, yes, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. You log on to Google and you create your account and you go, what am I going to do now? That's part of the process. You look on YouTube to learn how to start a YouTube channel, which always feels a little bit strange, and there's just so much information, complete information overload, and it is properly mind-boggling. You can easily click from one link to another and get quite excited and then get overwhelmed, and then you to Google and you search how to start a YouTube channel and you get bombarded with all these other informations and click this and click that and download this and pay for that, and it's like, oh my goodness, what on earth do we do? How did I get started? Well, to be honest, I have a full-time job. This isn't my full-time job because obviously if I've only got a handful of subscribers, it's not going to pay me anything, so I can't rely on YouTube just yet, at least. So I have a full-time job and I wanted to bring out my public speaking. As part of the day job, I get the chance to speak in front of people, and I'm really passionate about paying forwards everything that I've learned in terms of knowledge, information, insight, and encouragement. So I started YouTube with a view of saying, how can I help build an audience and help encourage others to do great things? So one of the things that I'm really passionate about is I firmly believe that people are capable of more than they realize. Why do I say that? I've been there. I was really doubtful around what I could achieve when I was younger. But in my later years, and certainly the older I've got, the more I think I've been able to do. Yes, I've done an Ironman triathlon. I've done the ride across Britain where you cycle from Land's End to John O'Groats over 9 days camping. I've run a marathon up a mountain in Colorado. All these things, they might be impressive to you, they might not. But for me, I wasn't sure every time I started one whether I could do it. So I was like, right, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, I'm going to tell others that they can do it, and I'm going to pass on the knowledge that I've got. But after starting, you think, okay, what am I going to do? I'm not very good at this. Will anybody watch it? And all of a sudden, you get into the confidence loop, which we've spoken about before, and you just begin to talk yourself out of what you're doing. Yeah, that's a bit difficult. With that in mind, I'm going to address one of the key myths that I've only recently discovered actually is not true. So when you look at a lot of these professional YouTubers, the chances are you think that they come across really well and they speak off the cuff and everything's really fluent and it's really easy process to put together. What I didn't realise until recently is there's a lot of scripting and a lot of preparation that goes into making such videos look really, really good. Scripting, that was mind-blowing. Everybody scripts out in some way, shape or other. Even those that are doing multiple millions of views, they actually script out a lot of their videos. Could be even a teleprompter. My word, imagine sat there reading like this from a teleprompter without sounding like a robot. That would be nuts. The irony is, as I'm talking to you now, yes, I've got some notes, but I'm not reading from a script or reading from a teleprompter. Should I? I don't know. I'm going to have to try it. And that's where the reason for making this video is I want you to come on the journey, because if you're going to start a YouTube channel and you are a little bit later in life, you're a little bit late to the party or whatever you're feeling, you need to know some of this stuff. Because if you just look at it from the outset and you look at how much money I made in 2020 from YouTube, or how did I create my first 1 million subscriber viral hit, or whatever that might be, you can't start there. So the myth that I want to bust today is the fact that people script and properly lay out what they're going to say, sometimes word for word and sometimes from a teleprompter. Now I don't have that, so for me it wasn't a problem busting that myth because I haven't got one. But anyway, put that to one side. That is a myth that you now know is not true. So what have I learned from my fledgling YouTube career? Now you've also got to bear in mind that I have less than 100 subscribers at this point, so I am by no means an oracle or even able to talk at length around creating content that properly has hit the masses. And if that's the case, then I would highly encourage you to look at people like Ali Abdul and Matt Diavella and other great YouTubers to see how they've done it. But for me, this is what I've learned over my fledgling career that I think you should know. Number one, I'm going to use an acronym that is JFDI. Now, you may not be aware of that, but JDI is Just Do It, which is the Nike slogan, but I've added an F in there. Now, parental advisory means that I'm probably not going to tell you what it means, but it sounds a bit like ducking. So just ducking, do it. What I'm trying to say here is you've just got to start. Just do it. Just do something. It doesn't matter whether it's going to be great or bad, you've just got to do something and get started. Now you don't even need a great camera. We've all got pretty much personal computers in our pocket or sat on the table or charging or wherever they are. Your mobile phone probably has a camera which is good enough and a microphone which is good enough as well to capture your first video, so you've got no reason not to start. Yes, you might not have the Sony A7 III something or other that costs 10 grand. Neither do I. But that's not a reason to stop you from starting your first video. Now, I'd love you to pause this video and actually go and record your first one. Just do it now. Create a video around something that is important to you, or is your favorite thing, or is something that resonates. Do it on a plant, on a picture, or just record an intro. If you get started, you learn. And if you learn, you understand more. And if you understand more, you can improve. I work in the data world and we have a phrase that says what gets measured gets managed. So what you can measure means you can manage it, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So lesson number one is just get started. Number two is be consistent. Now, I'm perfectly guilty of this as well, and you can easily run after the shiny new object syndrome of like, ooh, something else to follow and do. But you need to be consistent. Now, I'm currently a huge advocate and a fan and learning from the learnings of Ali Abdul, and he maintains the same ethos. You've got to be consistent. Consistency, in much the same way that the fitness world will never tell you, is really frigging boring. You've just got to do the hard yards. If you are on a fitness journey, and I've been through one in the past and I've talked about this, is creating and maintaining a calorie deficit, i.e. burning more calories than you take in, is really boring. Day after day after day after day after day. If you want to lose weight, if you want to burn fat, because weight is fat, muscle is weight as well. If you want to lose body fat, you need to create a consistent calorie deficit. And that is a really boring process. It won't sell any ebooks. It won't hit the cover of Men's Health. You won't see it advertised on any of the TV channels. Being consistent and doing the same things to create the results that you need is what's going to get you to where you need to be. I've endeavored to create at least one YouTube video a week, and I'm going to try and do it for the next 2 years. As I'm recording this in February 2021, hopefully when I look back in 2 years, you will see that there will be at least 104 videos, if not more, and I will have been consistent in my approach. But that's it. You need to be consistent, because you can't create one video and just expect it to take off. Maybe that is what will happen to you, and in that case, I bow down to you. Apologies for the bald spot. I can't do anything about that. But otherwise, if you're not going to create the first amazing viral video, you're going to have to be consistent and put the hard yards in. Just Google Tom Brady if you want to learn about the hard yards. As an aside, having just won his 7th Super Bowl ring, he actually wasn't picked in his first American football team as the quarterback. Yet it's just become what many will say the greatest of all time, certainly within the NFL. Number 2, be consistent. And number 3, nobody's going to watch it. I know, right? This is a real counterintuitive piece, but nobody is going to be watching your video. Actually, I'm going to say that again. Nobody is going to be watching your video. So as you sit there and think, oh, is it good enough? Have I got my intro? How do I record this? How do I get the timestamps? What happens if somebody doesn't like it? The chances are when you start off your YouTube channel, unless you're fortunate to have a big social presence elsewhere and they all flock to your channel and subscribe and the bells ring and they smash that like button, whatever that really means, nobody is going to see your first videos. So don't overthink it. It goes back to number 1 of just effing do it. If nobody is watching your videos, then why are you stressing about it? A quick personal example is I deliberated over creating a data strategy course for many months. I talked myself out of it, I wrote the slides, I talked myself out of it, I did a bit more, I talked myself out of it, and at the end of the day, I just decided to do it. And after a period of hard work, I created it, and I'll put a link on the description below in case you're interested, and by all means ignore it. I uploaded it to Skillshare, which is a great platform for learning, and I'm not sure anybody watched it. Now, personally, that was fine, because the aim was to get it done. It wasn't for it to be brilliant. Obviously, I'd like people to watch it and tell me whether they found it useful, and if you're in the world of data and data strategy is something you're interested in, I would encourage you to have a look. But outside of that, what was I worrying about? It wasn't a question of worrying what the millions of people in the world are going to think, because nobody's going to see it. A quick analogy. The equivalent of you starting a YouTube channel from scratch without any audience is the equivalent of standing in the middle of a country field at night with no lights on, holding a torch up and expecting people to flock to you. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So if that's the case, don't worry. Just get started, be consistent, and then the people will see you. Because if you're creating good quality content, you can improve the editing, you can improve the equipment, you can improve how you get used to speaking on camera. That's fine, but don't worry about what people think, because at the beginning, nobody's going to watch you. And then you might get 1 subscriber and you're like, woohoo! Compared to the tens of thousands and millions of subscribers elsewhere, it's a bit of a win. So what do I want you to take away from this video? What you see on YouTube isn't always true. And much like social media and Instagram is not real life, because people have taken 2,000 photos for that one perfect shot, if you are thinking about starting a YouTube channel, do it. If you have an idea, then go for it. If you don't have an idea and you're just interested in trying, do it. YouTube is a great way of understanding how you come across, practicing, learning, understanding what works. But it's also a really intimidating place. So if you are thinking about starting a YouTube channel, please learn from my experiences, and that's the whole purpose of making this video, and is likely to be a series, because ultimately if you can learn from my mistakes, and I'm starting from scratch and I literally have no idea what I'm doing other than trying to find the best way forwards, then you will hopefully get ahead of me. And if that works, then I have paid forward and I am comfortable with that. If you are keen to understand what it takes to get ahead and learn from my mistakes, because I am guaranteed to make a number of them, please do make sure that you subscribe to the channel, make sure that the bell wobbles, and do please push the like button if you think anything in this video has been useful. What happens next? I'd like you to write a comment to tell me whether you have thought about creating a YouTube channel, whether you've got a YouTube channel and what your biggest fear was when you were starting. Because for me, it was, am I good enough? Now I'm going to go into stuff like that in later videos, but for now, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, then you definitely deserve a virtual high five. Obviously we're in COVID, so we're not allowed to do real ones, but with that, I'm going to wish you all a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.